Hi and welcome everyone to another video on my channel. My name is Denis and today we're going to talk about some of the best defenders in FPL this season. Now if you enjoyed my content, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button, but now let's get into it. Okay, so as I said before, today we're going to talk about the best defenders in FPL for our squads. Now in the first part of the video, I want to discuss a little bit about the big three. That's what I want to call them. Obviously they are not the only 6 million defenders, but I just think that these defenders are going to be really important for our FPL season at the moment. Virgil van Dijk, Gvardiol, Gabriel. There are other defenders from these teams obviously listed as 6 millions and we're going to talk about them also, but I just think that at the moment if you're trying to make a draft for game week 1, you're going to have at least one of these ones. So I want to try to make a little bit of a deep dive to discuss the pros and cons of owning each of them. Now, if we start a little bit with Virgil van Dijk, I'm going to give it straight to you. I think that he is the best option at the moment on this list. If we're looking at the ownership, obviously these players are going to be highly owned by the deadline. I'm surprised a little bit that Gabriel is not owned by a lot more people, but I suppose that's because of his injury. Now Arsenal are playing a preseason game right now when I'm filming and Gabriel is on the bench, so that's good news. Probably he's going to be fit for game week 1, and if that's going to happen, he's going to be a really tempting option for us. Now with the new system, with the defensive contribution, as you can see from the screen, I tried to list here the defensive contribution per 90 minutes from these players last season. So Virgil van Dijk is the first on this list with 8.16 defensive contributions per 90 minutes, and Gvardiol, Gabriel, almost the same, 6.4 and 6.13. So again, Van Dijk is going to be better at defensive contributions probably this season, although we can't really predict what's going to happen in the future from what happened in the past. But again, let's just try to suppose that's going to happen. The fixtures for Liverpool are not amazing, so also for Arsenal, but for Manchester City the fixtures are a little bit better. You can have a lot of pros and cons with if we're talking about attacking threat, all these three defenders have a little bit of attacking threat. Virgil van Dijk has 0.06, Gvardiol 0.13 and Gabriel 0.10. So Gvardiol has had the most attacking threat last season, but obviously there's a reason to that. Gabriel was injured for a long period of time, so we can't really judge Gabriel from what happened last season. The fixtures are going to be better for Manchester City, as I said before, but we also should take into consideration how good the teams are when we're talking about fixture. Obviously, if Sunderland are going to have the best fixtures, it doesn't mean that they're going to have the most clean sheets, right? So we need to take that also into consideration. Arsenal are the best defense on this list, and I'm going to try to explain for you why is that. Now, if we're talking about the predicted points for these players, Gvardiol is predicted to score the most points, probably because the fixtures are a little bit better. I'm expecting also Manchester City to improve this season a lot defensively and attacking wise. Now, what I tried to put here is some head-to-head with Virgil van Dijk, Gvardiol, and also Van Dijk, Gabriel, to try to help you a little bit to see which one of these three players is going to be the best fit for your team, because there are a lot of advantages to start with a 6 million defender in FPL. I don't really need to talk too much about that. A lot of people are starting with at least one 6 million defender in game week 1, because if suddenly someone like, for an example, Munoz is going to be scoring a lot of goals, and maybe someone like Van Dijk is not going to keep a lot of clean sheet, it's going to be really easy for you to swipe Virgil van Dijk to someone like Munoz because he's really expensive, obviously. Now, if we look at the first chart, let's try to compare a little bit Van Dijk with Gvardiol. As you can see, Van Dijk scored 3 goals, Gvardiol 5, Van Dijk got an assist. Now these defenders probably, as all three of them are center halves, they are not going to get a lot of assists probably this season. But again, if we look here at the statistics, what does that tell me is that Liverpool were at least a much better defense than Manchester City last season. They got 14 clean sheets, Manchester City got 13, so the difference is not that big in terms of clean sheets. But if you're looking at expected goals conceded, Liverpool are 35 and Gvardiol and Manchester City are 44, so they should have conceded a lot more goals than they did Manchester City. That's what this chart is telling us. As you can see, shot conceded 362, 337 for Gvardiol. So Manchester City are not conceding that many shots, obviously, like Manchester City, because they have more possession. But now let's move to the other chart. If we try to compare Van Dijk to Gabriel here, Gabriel on the list, as you can see, has more attacking threat, last season at least, than Gabriel. But if you're looking at the chart, they scored the same amount of goals and almost the same amount of assists. So the expected data is not everything, guys. And also you should try to think how you're feeling, and if you think that Gabriel is going to be the best pick out of these three, then just go for it. It's not going to be too much into it. Probably all three of these guys are going to be really good options for FPL. Now again, if you don't want to go with any 6 million defender, that's fine. Also maybe the 4.5 million defenders are going to be amazing with the new system with defensive contributions. But also let's look a little bit about on these statistics, because it's really interesting. Van Dijk got 14 clean sheets, as I said before, and Gabriel got 10. Now obviously Gabriel was injured for a long period of time, and maybe we should not judge too much into that. But what does this chart tell me is that Arsenal are a better defense than Liverpool, and obviously then Manchester City. With 23 expected goals conceded, Arsenal should have not conceded the amount of goals they did this season. Obviously, probably that's a part of the reason is that Gabriel was missing a lot of time. Saliba was injured at some point, but still Arsenal conceded a lot of stupid goals. Let me just collect that from penalties, from goals in the 91 minutes, something like that. So again, they are a good defense for the last 2-3 seasons. I think that Arsenal are the best defense in the Premier League, and they are going to keep clean sheet. And let's just not forget that the clean sheets are the most important thing when we're looking into a defender. I know that now everybody is going crazy about the defensive contribution, but at the end of the day, you want a defender who has chances of getting a lot of clean sheets, and after that, if he's going to get also some defensive contributions because he's making a lot of interceptions and tackles, then yeah, that's pretty nice. But again, we should not overlook these defenders with higher clean sheet potential and also with a little bit of attacking threat. Now, if you ask me, I could give you my reason why I think that Van Dijk at the moment is the best one. He is the best of these three for defensive contributions per 90 minutes. Liverpool upgraded, in my opinion, at least the left back spot with Kerkez. I think that Kerkez has a lot more energy than someone like Robertson. Now, that doesn't mean that Robertson is not going to play here and there, because obviously he's going to play some games, but I think that Liverpool are going to be decent in defense. Also, if Alisson could stay fit the entire season. The fixtures, the first one against Bournemouth at home is okay. Van Dijk has a lot of attacking threat from corner, from set pieces, and now they just signed Wirtz, which is a really nice creator in midfield from Liverpool, who's going to be probably on corners. So again, they have the options for Van Dijk to deliver some goals from corners. Liverpool are going to get a lot of clean sheets. They are not at the same level as Arsenal, but still they are a good defense. They got the most clean sheets last season, so let's not forget about that, with the data or not. And again, I just think that they are going to have an amazing season again. With Virgil van Dijk, you know that he's going to play 90 minutes every game week. With Gabriel, maybe he has a little bit of a history with injuries. Now again, probably he's not going to get injured or something like that this season. But yeah, if you're talking about Frimpong, if you're talking about Kerkez, Van Dijk is just the best option from Liverpool at the moment for all the reasons listed above. If we talk about Gvardiol, there are other options at Manchester City. So Ainuri, I'm sure a lot of people have questioned why he's not here on the list. I think that he's going to be great. I think that he's a really attacking defender, and probably it's going to be really important for us in FPL also, but I'm just not sure about his minutes. Probably he's going to start the first game weeks. That's not the problem, but Gvardiol could also play as a left back, so that's why I included here Gvardiol. I think that his minutes are a little bit more safe than someone like Ainuri, and also we don't know if he's going to be at the same level of attacking threat like he was for Wolverhampton, but again, I'm expecting Ainuri to be a great option. I just think that it is a little bit of a risk there. And if you're talking about Arsenal, they have a lot of defenders. Saliba could be nice, but again, I just think that Gabriel is way better than all the other defenders from Arsenal. So I just think that you should just go with him if he's going to be fit, obviously, for game week 1. But now we're going to take a look also at other defenders. Okay, so moving forward, I want to discuss a little bit about other defenders price between 5 and 6 millions. Now again, I didn't include all of them, obviously, because I don't have enough space on the screen, but we're going to talk a little bit about these defenders. And again, with the 4.5 million defenders, I have a separate video, so if you want to check it for the best 4.5 million defenders, you can do it if you check my channel. Now again, if we start with the first one, Frimpong for Liverpool, I included him here because just to have a talk, because at the moment it is just speculation. Bradley missed the last preseason game for Liverpool against Athletic Bilbao, and that's the only reason if Frimpong could become a viable option for me at the moment in FPL. If Bradley is going to be out, obviously Frimpong is going to get a lot more minutes, probably is going to play 90 minutes every game week, and he's a really attacking defender. As you can see from screen, his XA per 90 0.21 and non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes were incredible last season, 0.35, but obviously just take into consideration that he played for Bayer Leverkusen, so we need to see how he's going to accommodate to the Premier League. At 6 millions, I think that FPL priced him okay, because if he was 5.5, if he was 5, obviously everybody would just buy him and he had the potential to be a bargain. Also at the moment, if he's going to start every gaming for Liverpool, he's going to be amazing value, I'm sure of that. But for all the reasons listed above, I think that at the moment Virgil van Dijk is the pick to go from Liverpool, just because Frimpong and Kerkez, I think that they are going to rotate a little bit with Bradley and respectively Robertson on the left back. So that's why I think that at the moment Van Dijk is the one to go from Liverpool. Now the fixtures are not amazing, but we talked about that. If we move to the other defender, Munoz from Crystal Palace is a defender who is a little bit going under the radar at the moment. Not a lot of people are talking about him, and he was one of the best defenders last season in terms of goals scored and assists. 5.5 millions, it is a nice price for someone like Munoz. Probably he's the most attacking defender in FPL at the moment, as you can see from the stats: 0.14 non-penalty XG and 0.10 XA per 90 minutes. He was amazing in the last part of the season, at least for Crystal Palace. They are a decent defense, but as I said before, they're going to play against Chelsea. They have some tricky fixtures to start the season with, and also with now the new system, defensive contributions, not a lot of people are looking into these players, these attacking fullbacks, who I think that are a little bit overlooked at the moment, because as I said in the last part, the clean sheets are the bread and butter for all the defenders. So if a team is going to get a clean sheet, they are going to get 4 points. So I think that we should be looking to have players who are going to get clean sheets and also attacking returns. If a player is going to score, he's going to get 6 points. I don't need to tell you that. And with the defensive contribution, you can get a maximum of 2 or something like that for one game. And obviously the defensive contributions are not going to be happening every game week or something like that. And also Munoz is not that bad, a defensive contribution also 7.43 per 90 minutes from last season. It's not really bad for an attacking defender, so I really like him. I think that he's going to be a nice option. And again, if you don't mind the features for Crystal Palace, he could be a really good option. Cucurella again from Chelsea, before the new introducing of the of this new system with defensive contributions, Cucurella was pretty much locked in for everyone for game week 1, but now he, as you can see from this list, he's the worst one. Defensive contributions 5.75. Now Chelsea signed another left back, Hato, who can play also as a center back. Maybe he's going to get some minutes out of Cucurella, but at the moment I still think that he's going to be nailed, and the fixtures for Chelsea are amazing. He scored some goals in the last part of the season, he got some assists, so he has some a little bit of an attacking threat. I still think that's going to be a decent option, but again, if you want to go just for one, Gabriel, Van Dijk, Gvardiol probably are going to be a little bit better and a little bit more safe, to say it like that. Now if we move to the next one, a defender from Spurs. Now if you told me last season that I will be talking about having a defender from Spurs this season, after they were horrible defensively last season, horrible in general, Spurs, but they have a new manager at the moment. They are going to improve, I'm sure of that, defensively and attacking wise. Pedro Porro was a decent option also last season, just purely because of his attacking threat. He's a really attacking defender. As you can see, his expected assist per 90 minutes 0.16 is really high on this list. He's not having a lot of chances to score goals, but we know that he can score goals. And again, I'm expecting Spurs to improve a little bit. They have really good fixtures also, Tottenham, so that's also a good reason why I think that he is a good option. The only problem with having Pedro Porro in your team is I think that at the moment we have someone like Van de Ven at 4.5 million who's great defensive contributions, and obviously he's going to get the clean sheet if Pedro Porro is going to get them. So I think that it is a little bit hard for me to pick someone like Pedro Porro when with 1 million cheaper you can go for someone like Udogi or Van de Ven. So that's the only reason, but obviously he has more XA per 90 minutes, Pedro Porro. So if you're looking for a really attacking defender, Pedro Porro is definitely more attacking than Van de Ven. Now, if we move to the Nottingham Forest boys, Milenkovic, Nico Williams, obviously here on the list you're not going to see Murillo. That's not because I think that he's a bad option. I just didn't have enough space, and we're going to talk a little bit about him also. So Murillo is the best defender from Nottingham Forest. If we're talking about defensive contributions, Milenkovic and Nico Williams are also close, because as you can see, both of them are pretty amazing at defensive contributions. And right now that I'm filming, I just thought that Milenkovic was better, but now that I'm seeing this graphic, Nico Williams, he's a little bit more cheaper with 0.5 millions. He's a fullback. He has some a little bit of an attacking threat, and he also has 8.72 defensive contribution per 90 minutes. Now, the only problem with Nico Williams is that you're not 100% sure that he's going to be nailed. Now, if you ask me, I think that Nico Williams is really nailed in that defense, and he's going to play close to 90 minutes every gaming, but that was the problem last season. He didn't start the season, and just in the second part of the season, Nico Williams won his place as a starter for Nottingham Forest. So again, I think that is a great option at that price. Milenkovic at 5.5 millions, if you want to pay a little bit more, I think that you can't go really wrong with Milenkovic or Murillo. But if I was to pick at the moment, I would pick Milenkovic just because he has a lot more attacking threat from set pieces, from corner. As you can see, 0.10 for a center half is amazing. He scored a lot of goals last season. We know what he can do in the box. And again, Nottingham Forest, I'm still expecting them to drop a little bit this season compared to last season, but the fixtures are going to help them a little bit. The fixtures are decent for them. I can see some clean sheets for Nottingham Forest. Attacking wise, I'm not so sure how many goals they are going to score in those fixtures, but I'm trusting them a little bit with the clean sheets. With the defensive contributions are pretty great, all of them, maybe not Ola Aina, but you got my point. Now, if you talk a little bit about Tarkovsky, I talked about him a little. I'm not sure if the price is right for someone like Tarkovsky. Obviously, he's one of the best defensive contributions from last season. As you can see, almost 11 defensive contributions per 90 minutes. That was amazing. Everton are really good defense, or at least they were last season. Now, again, they were fighting for relegation. I'm not sure if having, if paying 5.5 millions for a defender who is playing for Everton is the best idea when you can go for someone like Milenkovic, I don't know, Munoz, Cucurella, someone like that. But for sure, Everton are going to play against Leeds in Game Week 1. The fixtures are not terrible to start the season with, are pretty decent. I can see some clean sheet. I think that they are a good defense. And also with this new system, with the defensive contributions, we need to see how much it is going to impact us. But if you want a player who's good at that, you can go for someone like Tarkovsky. You can go for someone like Braithwaite for Everton. Now let's move to the last player on this list, Lacroix, another player from Crystal Palace. So he's priced at 5 millions. I really like that price. I talked about Richards, who is a 4.5 million defender from Crystal Palace. Now Lacroix is his version, but he's a little bit more attacking. As you can see from the screen, he has the same attacking threat as someone like Milenkovic, which says a lot. The fixtures are not amazing from Crystal Palace, as I said before. He's a really good option also. A defensive contribution 10.02. So I think that if I was to choose at the moment, I would just pick Lacroix for the long term instead of someone like Tarkovsky, and he's also a little bit cheaper with 0.5 million. So overall, I think that there are a lot more defenders to talk about, but I just didn't have enough time to do that in this video. Maybe we're going to make another video in particular when I'm going to talk about the best attacking defenders. Please let me know in the comments down below if you would watch that and if you want to see that. But again, for today, I think this is it. Thank you so much for watching this long. It really means a lot and I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye.
Bag gura lor când mă întreabă oamenii de unde sunt le zic de